And then maybe now we can hear from Felix.
Yep. Hi, everyone. My name is Felix. I've been selling since 2018, and I'm so far only based in US market. Right. So I'm from Singapore, and I'm mainly selling in the arts and craft category. So yep, happy to now have a discussion with you guys.
Thanks, Felix. And finally, we have Casey today.
I am Casey from Penang, Malaysia. I think I started like 10 years ago, and at first I worked as a part-time and then full-time, and recently back to part-time again. So I'm active in US market and also the Japan market, Europe as well, but not that much anymore.
Yes, so thank you all our seller ambassadors. As you can hear from their introductions, they're definitely very experienced sellers. So if you have any questions at all, or you want to ask anything about your Amazon selling journey, feel free to pop it in the chat. But today's topic will be covering more of a general overview of how their 2021 selling journey has been and their upcoming plans for 2022. So perhaps as a more of a casual question to kickstart this discussion, to all the seller ambassadors, if you guys had to summarize your 2021 Amazon selling journey in just one word, what would it be? Anyone can go first.
For me, I would say challenging.
Strong word.
Yep.
Yeah. These 2 years has been quite challenging. Especially is on the logistics side and the cost and the production side. Actually, the sales is there, the buyer is there, just that my inventory can't keep up with the sales. That's the problem.
So both Felix and Casey have chosen the word challenging. How about you, Philip?
Actually, I wanted to say challenges and opportunities, because when there are challenges, it will bring around more opportunities. And this year, for me, for my company, we saw about a 20% jump in increase. So we how do you say that? We are planning to increase more the sales and bring in more the ASINs and push our brand to be bigger, hopefully. Yeah.
I think that's a nice way of putting it. For Felix, maybe, could you share why you chose the word challenging? Because for Casey, it was more of an inventory, logistics struggles that you've had.
Yep. So when I say challenging, it's more than, it's not only the negative aspect, but I think there's also like the positive side. So in fact, from a business perspective, so 2021 is a year where I've been trying to build and grow my brand. So if you ask me, that would be the main challenge in my business. So there's a lot of learning, and there's like trial and error and stuff like that. And of course, comes along would be the logistical challenges that I still have to manage as well. So I think with these two factors combined, I think it's challenging, but then there's like two ways now, the positive aspect and as well as the negative aspect.
I think that sums it up very well. Along with challenges, sometimes these challenges do push us in the right direction as well. And I think earlier on, a few of the seller ambassadors did mention some struggles that was brought about by the pandemic. So I think when we look at the pandemic, right, I don't think anybody expected COVID to last for 2 years. So yeah, it has been 2 years since COVID actually first started. And maybe just as a question from some of our sellers today, how do you think that your business has evolved over the years? From 2019, that was pre-COVID, and then 2020, that was when COVID first started kicking in, and e-commerce was booming. Everyone was just trying to get used to 2020, and then when 2021, that's when we are adjusting to the new normal. Over these 3 years, how do you think your business has evolved?
Yeah, I can start first. So 2019 pre-COVID, I guess I'm less price sensitive because now my products have like higher margins. I can afford to take more risks, and also there's no inventory limits when it comes to FBA. So cash flow is better. I don't have to hold that much inventory. And as well as I don't need to work with 3PLs, which is third-party logistics within the United States. So operating costs is lower in 2019. So then comes 2020, at the peak of COVID, there was inventory restrictions with Amazon FBA. So then I started working with 3PLs. And at the height of the pandemic, I was probably working with about 5 to 6 3PLs. And
Wow.
yeah, so, and I had so many also because some of them were actually struggling. So especially the warehouses in the West Coast, like they couldn't cope, and their response times, just responding to my emails took 2 weeks. And then not to mention that, longer time to just get my goods out of the warehouse. So that was really quite a challenging time. And from then I learned that I really needed to diversify my 3PL. So in case like one of them falls, I have backup. So at the peak, yeah, so I really work with like up to 5, 6 of the 3PLs. And even then I was also very close to running out of stock, in the Amazon warehouses as well. And yeah, after a while, things started settling down. So back to 2021, yeah, we kind of got used to it. And I'm now down to like 2 to 3 3PLs. So things are more or less stable. And of course, as I adapt, I'm a bit more cost sensitive as well. So I will be very careful when it comes to designing my packages, type of materials I use. I will check the dimensions. And I think what I have adopted in 2021 is I work very closely with my agents and suppliers. So when I'm sourcing for a new product, I will actually tell them the target price I'm going for. So like right off the bat, we have an expectations, of the cost that I'm looking at. So then we are able to work closely together to make the product happen. So the agents will actually suggest, the kind of packaging materials to help me save costs and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. That sounds like, I think something that you mentioned in one of our other roundtables was being able to build trust with your network over time, right? That sounds like they're really thinking for your business as well.
Exactly. So there'll be like, 2 heads is better than one. So my agents and suppliers, they're actually working closely with me to help me save costs. So
that's really nice. Has any other seller ambassador also have like similar experiences?
I think over time you build a trust with your supplier that you work with, and then they will let you know. I mean, like for my case, they will let me know when there's going to be an impending high price increase in the products, because like prices of raw material is going up. So they will preempt me in a way, like 2 months before or 1 month before. They will tell me, hey, maybe you should order a bit more because like next month there's going to be an increase, or maybe you should for example, in January, there's going to be like the Chinese New Year shutdown. So they will tell me maybe you should adjust a bit more your inventory so that you won't face a out of stock situation. So in that way, working with the supplier regularly and with many suppliers, then you will find that you build a trust, and then they will be able to guide you and help you, like what Felix mentioned. Like you want to save the cost, they will be able to advise you. Maybe you do a box with certain colors, or maybe you reduce maybe you do a brown color or change the packaging to certain way to maximize your to reduce your cost of goods, basically. Yeah.
Has that relationship with the suppliers always been the same even before COVID, or was that something that was cultivated with the price sensitivities that happened during COVID?
For me, it has been all along before COVID, so I didn't change much things during COVID period. Yeah.
How about you, Casey?
Yeah, so for me, actually, I'm more upfront after COVID because I'm more price sensitive. So I will make it very obvious that if you can't give me this price, this product cannot happen.
Well, that's a different. I think this is a very different way, and I think if it works, it's very good.
No, I guess it's either they earn less or they don't get my business.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's all or nothing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I actually have a similar kind of negotiation with one of my supplier recently, but it didn't go well. So right now I'm actually looking for a new supplier for that particular product. So at the same time, I think another things that I would like to bring on is diversify, right? For example, like just now I mentioned that one of the negotiation with one of my supplier didn't go well, but the thing is, if you have enough diversifying, that one product won't heavily damage your business. Okay, so you have still like 80%, 90% running. So that give you the power to further negotiate with them, because you can hold on and can hold on. So let's see who wins the war lah. So the diversification is quite important, and I think that is a big lesson that I learned in this year, in 2021. Yeah.
I think this diversification gives you a bit of freedom, right? Like you're not at the mercy of the situation around you. But I think when
Yes,
we
and anytime if let's say one of your supply unable to be productive or hit by the COVID or anything, you have other supplier and you have other products that helps you to move on to cover up. So the same makes for the market. Like you have US market, and you might want to consider you have other markets to back up you, like you have Japan, Amazon, or you have eBay or whatever, to have a backup when one of the region having problem, the other the other marketplace still can back up your business.
don't put all your eggs into one basket. Yeah,
Mm.
but I think like this is especially important in COVID, right? Because of like what you mentioned, there's a lot of uncertainty around. But now that we know we're adjusting to the new normal, we're not sure how long more this pandemic will last. What does it mean to you to run a business in this new normal? Like, what do you think? Do you think the business climate has changed, or how can new sellers launch their business in the new normal now?
For me, I think the sellers, you need to be sharper than before. Okay, first of all, is because of the competitiveness and globalization. Like last time, if you sell in that particular market, basically you're competing with those local players. But right now, you have the whole world compete with you. So that's one thing. And and in terms of to be more sharp, is that right now I feel like things are moving faster than before. Like previously, like many years ago, I can have a product launch, and I can take a month or two, and then I can enjoy my honeymoon like 1 year, that I don't even have any competitors. Okay, but right now, after like a few months, I am seeing the competitors are popping up everywhere, right? So and also the products. For example, during the past few months, I've been launching a sports equipment, a gym set, okay, which is doing very well in the MCO, in the COVID period. But right after the what our MCO here is open up, means people are allowed to go public, allowed to go to gym, exercise everywhere again. The sales drop like 60%. So you have to be very sharp, and you have to move along the train, and you do not want to keep a lot of inventories, and suddenly your warehouse full with everything, and it can't sell. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Casey. I think some of that also comes with experience. So most of the time, the most important thing is just to take the first step out, and then you can learn as your journey goes along.
Yeah, that's right. So the climate, what I observe is more and more people are purchasing online. So I mean, sales volume definitely increased. So for new sellers, I think not much have changed. I would think, like for new sellers, it's really about, like Jade mentioned, to just take the step out, and then basically set aside some budget and then start failing and try to fail as many times as you need with that same limited budget. Don't throw all your eggs into one basket. You fail once and then you blow everything. Just try to be a bit smarter about how you spend your money. And then when you launch products, it's really more about testing and learning. So yeah, so although I said come out to fail, but when you fail, try to take notes and then learn and collect data. So especially in this very cost sensitive time period, what you really want to do is, as you do your launch, once you collect data, where you are spending your money is, and then you should be building up a template, where you record down, a cost breakdown of doing this business. So you start to build up your business process as you're failing in that way. Yeah, so I would say for new sellers, there are a few points that you should take note. First of all, I mentioned is cost. And then you should learn also how to read the competition, the demand of the product, which tools like Helium 10 will help you. And then, of course, the mindset around selling on Amazon. So Amazon is a search engine, it's very keyword based. So I would always recommend starting with keywords and then looking at the search volume. That's where you get on demand. So it's always a data first approach rather than trying to do a product first approach where you don't know whether there's demand or how the competition is like.
It does sound very research heavy, right? While failing might sound bad, I think the trial and error and the learnings that you get from it, like what you mentioned, forms a data-driven business, which is what will allow you guys to go far as well.
Yeah, I feel all the time. So I treat failure as, like bricks where, you build up your building. So without the bricks, you can't really build up a successful business.
That's a very nice way of putting it. I think that's very wise.
Yes, the e-commerce is actually having advantage in this data, because everything you prepare to sell, you want to sell, or you want to start your business in Amazon or anywhere through online, first of all you can get all the data, and try to find all the information you can for your products, the sales, the is people looking for it, the demand and the supply. You can research everything first before you step in, because that will highly increase the successful of your first steps.
I think also sorry to add on, I think with the many tools available right now, like what Felix mentioned and Casey, we have like Helium 10, which provides you with all this information that you need to work, but you need to work on it and digest this information and find the right product to launch. And I think for new sellers to get started now, it's much easier than in 2000, a few years back, in 2018, when I started, because now there's so much information available on the internet. Like you have YouTube, you have those guides, you have forums, it's everywhere. Like even back in the days, I remember Seller University was not as good as what it was now. So I think it's like we have, with all this information, with all this available, I think new sellers should not have an issue to, get started. There's no reason not to start.
That's very true. I think if there are any concerns about starting your business in the new normal, like what our seller ambassadors have shared, right? Diversification is important. Being more strategic with your money, making sure to do your research so that you can rely a little bit more on data. These all seem to be reliable strategies that you can use to launch your business. And don't let COVID or the pandemic stop you in any way. I think when it comes to selling on Amazon, it's more like a marathon than a sprint. So as long as you get your first step out there, the learnings will come as they go. So actually, this brings me to my next question that a lot of our attendees actually have. It's a bit funny because they actually want to know what are some of the biggest mistakes that you have made in your Amazon business this year?
The points that I shared earlier, the diversification, okay, and also the keeping the inventory. Okay, these are the two mistakes I made. Okay, so I actually already shared them. The diversification is that what I actually have like 20% on one of my products. So when that product went into having some problem, so my sales straight away dropped like 20%. So this is what I want to avoid in the future, right? Don't depend on one single product and don't depend on one single supplier. And also the next one is that during the lockdown, the MCO, I actually made a very good sales on some gym equipments, and for that I made a mistake that I stocked quite many inventory, and as soon as it's open, okay, these items are staying in my warehouse and they're going like, I used to sell like 20, 30 units a day, and now it's like 2 units, 3 units a day. So that's very awful. And because of it's quite bulky, so I actually rented a warehouse for this purpose. And right now I'm hoping to running some promotion and to clear them off, and I can get the warehouse off. So this is two strategy I shared earlier, and also the two mistakes I made that I hope I won't repeat that, and you guys don't repeat that also.
That's a very great two birds with one stone. Biggest mistakes and biggest learnings, both in one story. How
Yeah.
about Philip and Felix?
For me personally, one of my biggest mistake was I didn't plan enough inventory during the season. So like the fourth quarter. So by the end of like December now, I've ran out of supplies, as in like ran out of stock. So because while I was doing some planning, I was foreseeing that it will probably finish up like two times or three times the expected inventory for sales. I mean the sales inventory. So what happened was that I factor in about two times. So and I guess that I was wrong. And then by the time it comes to December, all my items was out of stock. So planning the inventory during the sales period, during the fourth quarter actually is very important, because now if I were to send in the inventory, it will not be on time and the cost also will be higher. So I think you have to plan these two together, like how much time does it take, and then how many items do you need to factor in inside the inventory. And you also need to bear in mind that during like seasons like Christmas, Chinese New Year, shippings will be delayed. There's bound to be delayed, and then with the pandemic, sometimes it get delayed, sometimes it's fine. So it's like it's on and off. So for me, I personally experienced like when I was expecting my items to reach like today, they reached like 2 weeks after, just because there was delay at the warehouse or shipping and trucking and all this. Yeah, so we need to look into that.
Wow, 2 weeks is really long.
Yeah.
I think like especially from what you shared, if your suppliers are in China, during the Chinese New Year season, they do stop productions, stop mailing, is almost like a standstill for quite a long while, right?
Yeah. Or previously, I mean, like not for this year, but past year, what mistake I did was I I planned my Chinese New Year shipment and everything, and then the factory say I can finish it by this date, and then by the time you reach the freight forwarders to send to us, it just got stuck there because they didn't have enough space to fill in the containers. So they got stuck in the
Oh.
warehouse for Chinese New Year. So they were doing Chinese New Year in the warehouse. They had to wait for another like 1 month plus to get it. So that was quite a bummer, but learn from it, right?
Yes, biggest mistakes and biggest learnings during the holiday season. How about you, Felix?
Yeah, so I actually struggle to call this the biggest mistake. Yeah, because it feels like, we are looking for a silver bullet. So for me, mistakes are part and parcel. There's a lot. But then I would say like one of my favorite tricks I like to do is to always look out for my packaging dimensions, because when you have the wrong size or the packaging is too big, you actually go into the next size tier, and that would incur like additional FBA fulfillment fees. So I would always pay attention to this, because it has made a lot of products that seem not profitable in the first place to being quite profitable for me. So this is something that I always look out for. So always check your product dimensions against the FBA fees for the different size tiers.
It seems like quite a small tip to most, I think, but
Yes,
I don't think we should
like
underestimate it.
yeah, like Felix said like, because it's the different size, different weight, if we categorized in different tier pricing. So Felix is very good. You see, when sometimes if you use the standard packaging, so the fees might be $1 or $2 extra than the normal one, than the lower tier. That means he's making profit there, and the competitors are unable to beat him because of the packaging size. Yeah, so that's a very good tips that everyone should take in. And you can always check the fees, the fulfillment fees using the profitability calculator. I
That's a
just
very
share the
good
link
tip.
in the chat. Yeah.
Yes, so you can find that profitability calculator on Seller Central, but Casey has kindly shared that link inside the chat as well. So if you haven't used this tool before, you can click into the link and then give it a try later on. And I think like one of the other questions that our sellers also had, aside from wanting to know more about you guys' biggest mistakes and biggest learnings, someone also asked, what actions or factors drove the biggest growth for your Amazon business this year? Were there anything that like allowed you to hit it big?
There isn't. To me, it's consistent hard work, trial and error, and then failure as well. I do have my fair share of failed product launches this year as well. Yeah, unfortunately, there's no, I would say, the silver bullet has to come to making it big.
How about Philip and Casey?
For me, I think the process has been the same before pre-COVID. So I didn't really change that much of
Everything is same for you, Philip.
Because I was doing it before the COVID. I just started to send into to FBA during that period. So I did not really change that much in that aspect. My communication with my suppliers was all the same. What I did different was that for this year I actually increased the brand awareness by using more of the A+ content, because I had it, but I didn't maximize the use of it. So actually maximize it and then added in more content, and I did find that really there was more traffic coming in. Plus, I also increased the social media exposure a bit. So, and this make a big difference in my opinion to my product. Yeah.
I think the advertising and the A+ content both ties into greater brand awareness for you guys, right?
Yeah, I'd like to add on also. Probably something that's important to me is to understand your customer needs. I think that is quite important when it comes to building up the brand, and even when it comes to launching or developing your own product. So yeah, so probably just reading all the bad reviews, you can probably figure out what the customers are not happy about, and then you can build your products to help to meet that gap in the market. Yeah, so if I have to say one thing to help with the growth of business, this is probably something I would consider.
I think this is very good advice for those who are looking for products to sell or thinking about what products to source for as well. If you can identify the gap in the market first, you'll be able to find a product that can actually value add to people's lives, and that is where you will find the demand. How about you, Casey? Which actions drove a biggest growth for you?
I think what Philip say is correct. Actually, nothing much. If you have one success formula, there's no secret recipe, right? If you have one success formula, you launch one product successfully, you just repeat it for other products. And if you got 5 products, you double up, you got 10 products, right? 10 products, 20 products, you just keep on duplicate them. And maybe if you need to increase your team size to help to get people to help you duplicate your products. And but if you talk about the huge growth, I think is always the festival like Christmas season. I have some stocks that actually keep from last year. Okay, it's a Christmas product and it's beautifully wrapped, but it didn't because of some logistics, so I am not able to reach the Amazon in last year Christmas. So actually they reached there about January, February, and I kept them until this year, and actually all of them sold out. So the Christmas season, the December is you should always prepare a few months earlier avoid any logistic issue, to avoid any production issue, things that you can avoid, you should always send them to ready to sell condition situation in like few months earlier. That what I would do in the future.
Yeah, I think that was also very well echoed by the other seller ambassadors as well. So although the holiday season has passed for quarter 4, I think in the upcoming new year as well, I'm not sure if it's already too late. I think it might be too late to prepare for Chinese New Year itself. Yeah, but I think this trend of planning ahead for the holiday season, predicting how much inventory you need, some part of that also comes from experience as well. And I think I just want to circle back a little bit to what Philip mentioned about trying A+ content this year. For the other seller ambassadors, did you try any new Amazon tools this year that maybe made a difference in your business?
I use quite a lot the advertising this year, all right, for launching new product. I used to launch product without spending much on ads, but this year I actually tried. So the ads is is actually very useful, and it's kind of like when you I'll roughly go through when I launch the new product. I usually spend more than without profit. Okay, that means I'll spend a lot in ads and to drive up the product ranking, to drive up the sales and the review, and slowly I'll reduce the spending. And I think this is a quite standard process, but it proved useful.
I think that's a fair point as well. How about Philip and Felix?
So for me, I have started this year using sponsored brands, which is different from sponsored products for PPC. So sponsored brands allow us video ads, for example, as well as giving us additional placements around the product listing page and the search results page. So I think overall it has been working quite well for me, because not just gives me additional traffic and impressions, but it also acts as a defensive move for my product listing. So if there's a gap somewhere for a product ad placement, my product would show up there instead of having a competitor showing up there as well. So that is something that I started using this year, which I found it quite effective. And I also
please continue.
So I've also started doing like targeting my own ASINs as well. So that has the same effect of now being a bit more defensive.
Yes, I think Felix, you've shared that in one of our roundtables on advertising, right?
Yep.
So for any of the participants today who are curious to find out more about advertising, we actually did one whole roundtable just purely on advertising, and you can find that on our Seller Ambassador website. It's a recorded session, so you can go back and revisit it whenever you like. But I think we have one question from someone in the chat as well, that on top of employing advertising strategies within Amazon, do you guys use any external advertising like on Facebook or Instagram?
For me, not for paid advertising. So I do have an Instagram account. So that is where I allow my existing customers to find me, and then I get to interact with them. So basically to find out, what products that they need. So that kind of give me idea about, how do I go about expanding my catalog. And that also helps me with, sending some kind of external organic traffic into Amazon as well. So yeah, I think that helps a bit. But I think that the biggest help I get from there is really about, ideas for product catalog expansion.
I didn't advertise in on both Facebook and Instagram or any platform outside Amazon, but I'm not sure it's still available or not. But I think a few months ago I noticed there's a campaign that Amazon would pay you like I think 10% or 15% of the sales amount is actually rebate, some kind of rebate, that if you bring traffic from outside Amazon to Amazon and they make a purchase. I can't be sure the program, the campaign names, but it was there.
I think it's called Amazon affiliates, if I'm not wrong.
It's not the affiliate, because the affiliate is like 1% or 2% only, right? So that is a different program that you have to advertise your brand outside the Amazon, and if they come in and buy for your brand, you actually get the rebate. It is quite huge, like 10% or 50% of the sales amount.
Okay.
So we do have different programs on different Amazon stores as well. So I think for the sellers who are curious, you can explore the different stores that you have already launched in, and then see if you have this program available as well. Yes. And then I think we can maybe, after like reflecting on what we have done for our business in 2021, what we have explored, what mistakes we've made, and what learnings we have. I think a lot of the participants today are quite interested to know, what are your upcoming plans for 2022?
2022, well, I plan to consolidate on the current line of products that I have, and increase the brand awareness, and hopefully to expand. Like, we are planning to maybe mid-March to June to expand to other markets and get a foothold there. So this is the plan for me personally for 2022.
Yeah.
That sounds nice, Philip.
So for me would be to continue to build and grow my brand as well. So yeah, so it has been challenging trying to expand my product catalog, I would say. So what I plan to do moving forward is I will try to learn from the bigger sellers, where they have a huge product catalog and seem to be selling well. So I plan to study them more in detail, like what they are doing with their product listings, how they the kind of products that they are actually selling. Yeah, and then of course I will also continue to manage the logistical challenges, looking for opportunities to reduce my costs. And I'm probably looking at being more efficient when it comes to PPC. So previously I have been always a bit more aggressive with my PPC because I had more margins to play around. So probably like moving forward to next year, I have to be a bit more careful and be more efficient in that way.
How about Casey?
Okay. I think for those who hope for the logistic fees to come down, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So if your product is having logistic fees issue, then you need to solve it. You need to find a way to overcome it, because I don't think it's going to come down anytime soon. And then for me, next year would be yeah, I'll try. I'm planning to work with more local sellers. Okay. Because I noticed that many sellers, many brands, they want to sell overseas, but they don't want to do it themselves. So I might help them to do that lah. And also at the same time, I'm hoping that I can build a team up to help me do my work lah.
Wow, that sounds like a very big expansion plan. Hoping to see more products from Bukit Mertajam in Penang online.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think like someone just answered in the chat, brand referral bonus program. That was what was shared earlier. Yes, but I think just to circle back on what Felix shared as well, we have some questions from the attendees about the cross-border logistics concerns for 2022. So of course, we're not going to be able to predict the future here, but based on your experiences in 2021, what do you think the climate is going to look like for cross-border logistics in 2022? And do you have any advice for sellers on how to manage them?
I think I just say it right. It's not coming down anytime soon, and so you have to either increase your selling price, or you just have to Yeah, I think that's my usually what I would do lah, because you have to understand that you are not the only one who is having this issue, right? All your competitors, they are also having the same issue. So when your price is up, their price is also up usually. Because I myself, I try not to increase my selling price as possible as I can, right? I notice when almost all my competitors, they already increased the price, but I try to stick with the same as long as I can keep my profit stable. But at the time, you will notice that you won't be able to do that, that you have no choice but to increase the selling price. And the other way to overcome is to find a more it's actually how you ship them. Okay, like let's say if your products is manufactured in China, so you have to see if you can either source it other way, other place from other manufacturer that can help you to reduce the cost or something like that. Because sometimes I notice that when I started out, I always shop from China, but right now actually most of my products are from Europe and from local here. It's not because of the logistics issue, but it's actually those manufacturer and those products that manufacture in other location, they have their selling points as well. So you don't have to always go and compete with the same group of people. Try other niche.
I think that also ties into what you mentioned earlier about diversification, right? And I think something else you mentioned as well, the margins, the profit margins that you have. If you have a wider margin, then it kind of acts as a better buffer. You have more area to play around with. But at the same time, it's when your margins have become so low that you're not making any more profit, then it might be time to reevaluate your prices and readjust here and there. But yes, how about Philip and Felix? Do you guys have any advice for sellers who are trying to manage their cross-border logistics concerns?
For me, I would just increase my quantity that I ship in. So instead of shipping 100, I'll ship like 200 to 300. So that will in essence drop my cost, my shipping cost per goods. So and then the other way is to squeeze the manufacturer, like what Felix mentioned before, to try to tell them that you only have this amount to play, and then this is the price that they are selling on the current market. So how can they help you to, meet this kind of prices? So, and then, yeah, so this is the only ways that I've used. And if I want to keep my selling price to be the same, if I want to increase the prices, then it will be a different strategy. But yeah, this is the current way I'm doing it now. Yeah. But so far, the manufacturer has been quite helpful in a way, because they understand about the shipping issues that is occurring around the whole world. So they are trying to squeeze where they can, but we also have to understand that they're also running a business. So we can't just like squeeze them out of nothing, because the next time then we will not be able to have them to help us. So we have to give and take, and then work with the maybe reduce profit. Yeah. So this is some of the ways that I'm doing at the moment.
I think the give and take also helps with the relationship that you're building in this network, right? And sometimes this relationship is like an investment that will go far.
Right. Yep. So for me, actually, what I would recommend people to do is to review the cost of the business, and then identify areas where there are levers that we can pull. So we know that shipping costs, that's something we can't do much about. So probably reviewing your packaging dimensions, for example, to see if you missed out. Can you down tier, for example? Maybe also reviewing whether, in a certain products, if you have multiple units, let's say you have like 10 of a units in one package, can you try 15, can you try 20? Would that be more cost efficient? As well as looking into, your packaging materials. Are you like over packaging the product? Would you consider different materials? For example, like, do you have product inserts that you might actually incorporate that into the packaging itself? So, removing the need for having a product insert. So also, yes, new suppliers, and then working with them closely being upfront, telling them, okay, this is the price we need to meet. Can we work together, and make this product work? And of course, I also explore slower shipping methods. So of course, that means that you have to hold more inventory and then cash flow would be impacted. So that's something that you have to take into consideration. And also I'm planning to look into, like, instead of drip feeding into Amazon from 3PLs that's located in the United States, can I try to drip feed from China instead? So something I would look into. And then of course, for products, especially those bulkier ones, I'm also considering instead sourcing directly within the United States, because now if the shipping cost is like so much higher now, does it start making sense to start sourcing within the US? Could it be even cheaper? So I think these are the possibilities that we can look into. So even having certain parts that will be shipped in from China, the bulkier part being sourced from US, and then having a prep center to bundle everything together. Would that make sense? Yeah.
I think the common theme in all the factors that you have mentioned just now seems to be like innovation, right? To relook at the processes that you have been used to, see how you can streamline it, make it more efficient, and in return, like get a little bit more profit from the business. And it seems like selling on Amazon, not just selling on Amazon, but businesses in general, you do need a certain sense of agility to be able to manage this business. Yes, and I think one of the other questions that our sellers have today is for 2022, when do you think is a good time to expand to other markets? I know this is like quite a big question, and of course, we can't predict the future, but if you have any like recommendations to share, or any thoughts that you might have about expanding to other different countries and Amazon stores.
I think if the number makes sense, there's no time. Like if it makes sense, then just go ahead. All right.
Yeah, you don't have to like January, February, or March, because it's all the same, all about the same. But as long as you have the budget, you have the capital, and you already have a stable business products in one region, it is always okay to move to other region, because the integration between each region under Amazon platform is quite straightforward, and it's very easy to migrate your listing, your products from one region to another. It won't cost you that much than you can imagine, right? It actually doesn't cost at all, except those the shipping, the logistics that right now you have to split into several warehouse, one in US and maybe one in UK, Europe, and one in Japan or Singapore. Yeah.
I would say that when it comes to Amazon, one of our unique selling points is the ability to sell globally. So I don't think choosing a particular month to expand to other markets will make a big difference in your business. But we do have another seller ambassador called Debbie, who has expanded into over 12 Amazon stores. So she is her global presence is very wide. And if you are interested to find out more about her business or to connect with her, this brings me to my next section as well. You can actually meet Debbie and our other Singapore seller ambassadors at the Amazon Singapore Seller Summit. So this is happening on the 14th of January. And this seller summit is for people who are based in Singapore and also willing to sell on Amazon.sg. So if you're interested in selling on Amazon.sg and you're based in Singapore, you can take part in the Amazon Singapore Seller Summit. Of course, for our sellers based in Malaysia and Philippines, we also have the Amazon Global Selling Malaysia Seller Summit 2022 and the Amazon Global Selling Philippines Seller Summit 2022. And that's where you'll be able to hear a little bit more from Casey, from Lala as well, who is our seller ambassador based in the Philippines. So if you are interested to find out more about selling on Amazon, I think I saw a few questions inside the chat earlier about FBA versus FBM. How do we utilize advertising to boost our business, or how can new sellers get started on different Amazon stores in different countries? In this summit as well, we cover the A to Z of selling. So anything that you need to know about selling on Amazon, you can find out more by registering for our events here as well. So while our Amazon ambassadors have taken many, many years on Amazon itself, you can hear from their discussion today that just because you've been selling for 10 years doesn't mean you stop making a mistake. Mistakes do come by, learnings will always be there. And it's a journey to sell on Amazon. And I hope that once you get started, that it will be a rewarding journey for everyone here. Yes, and then this brings us to the end of our Seller Ambassador Roundtable. So please let us know your feedback and your thoughts. If you have any questions or any topics that you would like us to cover in depth, you can scan the QR code on the left and let us know inside the comments as well. And we will be able to open up another roundtable with our seller ambassadors to discuss the topics that you want to hear about. So this is really to cater to you guys. Whatever topics that you are curious about, you can feel free to let us know. And on the right side, this is to join our Facebook group to interact with more sellers. So our seller ambassadors are very active inside our selling community. They, with the experience that they have gained selling on Amazon, they do reach out to new sellers to help them on their journey as well. So I think this seller community is very important to someone who is first starting out or somebody who needs to hear from fellow sellers who are in the same position as them. So you can feel free to join this Facebook group as well by scanning the QR code on the right. But aside from that, I think thank you so much to our seller ambassadors today. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Felix. And thank you, Casey, for joining us. And to everyone, 2022 is coming up in just a few days' time. I hope that you guys will reflect well on 2021, take heed to all the lessons that you have learned, and apply those going forward in 2022. And may everyone reach prosperity. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.